and welcome to another episode of the Career and Growth series brought to you by the Yaka Initiative. On today's episode, we have a very interesting personality, like I always like to say, because everybody on our show is an interesting personality, and I'll let him do the honors of introducing himself.
My name is Ebuka. I'm a pharmacist, and I will call it, I'm a pharmacist, but not the practicing pharmacist, and I'm into, should I call it farm tech, more of like a mix, where we try to see how we could identify silent pain points for patients and see how we can actually help the patients navigate through those challenges when it comes to the healthcare system, and at the same time ensuring the patient gets the best outcome of care, when it comes to access to health. So these are the networks of what I love doing. And in terms of who I am, right, I'm a Christian also, a very in-depth and strong Christian who has his faith being built on God. And at the same time, I'm a very jovial person, someone who is really open to, deep thinkings, deep thoughts, and deep processes. So this is who I am as a person.
A jovial person who is into deep thinking, deep thoughts, and deep processes. That's a very interesting dynamic, don't you think, everyone?
Yeah, it is actually. It is. Because, there's sometimes that you just have to, see a problem, you see the problem, you see the solution behind the problem. You try to see how you could also provide solutions to deep level of issues or deep level of challenges, when it comes to problem solving. So, there's sometimes you just have to break down the problems and identify the several whys on why the reason or why there is also a challenge in terms of what you see, and at the same time coming up with the respective solutions.
So you basically say a fun fact about you is that you actually like solving problems.
I love solving problems.
Love is a very strong word.
I love solving problems. I mean, I think that's where my strength actually lies.
Okay.
And I think it's where I kind of find, I won't call it solace because I find solace in God.
Yeah.
Right. But I think it's where I find
maybe like purpose or joy.
Purpose, satisfaction. Yeah, that's the word. We clock it, right?
Yeah, clock it.
I think it's where I find satisfaction and where I have this internal joy. When you see someone is having a challenge in terms of how to navigate the healthcare system and you come up with, a mind-blowing solution that helps the patient, navigate that certain level of challenge. So it gives me so much joy when a patient calls back and tells me, thank you for what you've done and thank you for the impact you've created.
That's actually really something. Yeah. Guys, this was just supposed to be a very straightforward intro, but we have, once again, a very interesting personality here on set with us today. Thank you so much for that intro.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so you said something in your intro, which was farm tech. That's a mixture of pharmacy and technology. Can you tell us how you went from traditional pharmacy into mixing it with technology? Tell us about that journey.
Okay, so I've been a practicing pharmacist from my undergraduate period. I think that was in my second year. And I kind of got intrigued with community practice, right? And it was quite interesting. But I knew hospital practice was never my line of action because whenever I go into a hospital, I tend to have this certain level of allergy. So I just knew that, you can't delve into this because you just keep having the allergy all around, right? So, but community practice was really, I had a good sense of curiosity in it, but I noticed, beyond community practice, right, there's a whole lot more a pharmacist could actually do. Number one is you could solve problems, you could help people get better outcomes, and at the same time, you could ensure the healthcare system is being shaped. So one of my major why was I had this burden of, trying to see how I could shape the healthcare system,
Yeah.
right? And how I could help patients navigate the whole process. I mean, the number one reason is, can you be in a certain place and at the same time still have access to health? If you can't have access to health, what are the challenges involved? So that's where I began to have several level of thought processes and how I could come up with solutions, ideas to help the patient navigate, access to those level of healthcare systems. So it was something that gave me so much joy, right? And with that, I wasn't a tech person.
Yeah.
That's the funny part. I wasn't a tech person. I never had the flair, to delve into tech. But when I found out that, this was a huge challenge when it comes to the healthcare system, I got so much interested in it. And where I'm currently working at the moment, it gave me so much opportunity and avenue to see how this whole process can actually be solved, and this whole process can actually be navigated. And at the same time, more patients could have access to their care. So I think that was the major why, or that was the why that I had. And that had been my major driver to see how I could navigate through the whole process. Yeah.
So basically, you saw a problem, or in this case, like a gap, and you decided, oh,
Exactly.
I want to be one of the people that will provide the solution to this problem.
Exactly. It was a gap. Yeah.
Amazing, guys. Okay, so you already told us that your journey into, farm tech was not really a straightforward one.
Yeah.
Can you break it down into steps? What are the steps that you took to transition in?
Yeah. So number one was finding your why, right? Finding your why. And the major way I was able to find my why was seeing how I could pray, and at the same time have a clear-cut idea on what I should do. So I will give an example. I had this thought brewing for a very long time, even while back in school. But how to go about with it was something that was so difficult for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
So it was not like you left school and then you found this out. It was
while I was still in school.
amazing.
Yeah, but it was something that, when you have a hunger for something,
Yeah.
and you don't really know how to navigate into it, and that hunger just becomes afloat, right? You don't know how to navigate it, but you still have that mindset. Then along my journey, my developmental journey, I found out, okay, yes, this was still there. The why was still there. Or the idea was still there, but the why wasn't there. But when I now had the opportunity to submit, I think it was a proposal I submitted. Yeah, it was a proposal I submitted. And when I submitted the proposal, I was like, well, if this idea, which was the idea I had way back in school, doesn't fly, then so be it. Unfortunately for me, the idea was approved. And I was like, are you serious? This idea was approved. So I had to now identify those level of resources. After I was able to identify the why through prayers, I was able to see how I could gather the necessary resources, identify people who had those level of resources and capacity, and I began to learn. So there was number one, finding the why, number two, gathering resources, and number three, learning. So these were the three major core things I held on to. And I found out that, it's something everybody could do. Even though you cannot do it, definitely there are people who are out there that can help provide that level of solution for you. And that was how I was able to navigate the whole process. So it first of all came from an in-depth reason for myself by identifying my why, and at the same time ensuring or being gracious to yourself and going through the whole process and allowing God lead you.
So just understanding that it's a process, and then you can just take it one step at a time.
One step at a time.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, so let's go back into like general healthcare, right? So we know that you already mentioned that you found some gaps in the healthcare system. So what are the other gaps that are in the healthcare system today? Plenty.
should I say off the mic?
That deep sigh.
Yeah, there are a whole lot of gaps. There are a whole lot of gaps, right? And the funny part is that it's not just a Nigerian thing. Yeah, it's not just a Nigerian thing. We had a gap there's a gap of technology. There's a gap of access to medicine. There's a gap of knowledge where people don't have that knowledge of their disease, right? There's also a gap from the patient's perspective, which is accountability of their health, right? Where people are not compliant to the use of their medication. There are also gaps when it comes to the doctors themselves not being acquainted with current trend of practice, right? There's also a gap again when it comes to the pharma companies not being able to have provision in terms of the medicines that are being needed for the disease care. So there are a whole lot of gaps, and I feel those gaps are gaps that individuals could navigate, right? And at the same time, gaps that individuals could sit down and provide solutions. Yeah. So there's a whole lot of them.
It's like a whole bucket list of gaps.
Trust me. I mean, I just had to summarize some things because if I start talking, I don't think we'll leave here.
Like a god.
That's the truth.
Okay. So let's bring it back to the mix of pharmacy and tech. Since you do both right now, are there times where you find yourself in a day switching from like core pharmacy to tech bro?
So I would say not necessarily, because I've been able to find the balance. Yeah, I've been able to find the balance, and the balance has really helped me to navigate several hurdles that I had. Right. I mean, being a pharmacist is really awesome, right? But being a tech person is really great, right? Because now in pharmacy you dispense, in pharmacy you communicate, in pharmacy you discuss with doctors, right, about current trends of diseases and medications, right? But when you communicate, most times you're not the person who holds the wand, the magical wand, right? It's the doctor who holds the magical wand. It's just the pharmacist who is recommending, right? But in tech, you're the person who holds the magical wand, where you see a problem and you identify that problem, you provide solutions, you see people getting benefit from those solutions, it gives you peace. Right? So one thing I always love is the fact that I love when I come up with ideas and I see these ideas being implemented, and those ideas helps in reducing the patient burden, right? And at the same time, the patient gets satisfied in terms of what they do. Yeah, so I think that's where the balance is.
The balance. Interesting. This is a very hardcore thing. So this interview is, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm trying to balance it. While I understand that we are going into deep waters, I'm trying to come back into the shallow.
I'm trying myself not to get into them because trust me, if I go into that deep waters, it's going to be a lecture. I'm trying not to delve into the healthcare system. I'm trying not to
so you already mentioned some of the gaps, right? That's what I mean by deep waters. And so what are some of the solutions you think that can be implemented to bridge those gaps?
The solutions in what way?
So you mentioned that there's a gap in, patient accountability in terms of making sure they take their medications, the probably gaps even in knowledge from the patient's end and also the healthcare practitioners' end. So it is a whole lot of gaps. So you mentioned can you maybe pick one or two or three of those gaps and think prefer solution?
Okay. So now, when it comes to the healthcare system, right? I mean, there are several playing grounds,
Yeah.
right? One can easily delve into, right? And I feel so. I'm trying to cluster some things, right? So I feel when it comes to the challenges um, in the healthcare system,
Yeah.
right? I feel if one needs to provide level of solutions, all what is just needed is to see how those problems can be clustered.
Yeah.
Now, so in clustering those problems, we look at patient knowledge, we look at HCPs or doctors' knowledge. We look at the patient being accountable in terms of their healthcare system. We look at the aspect of access to healthcare system. I mean, access is more of like an outlier,
Yeah.
right? So, but when you cluster the access, the healthcare knowledge, disease, doctors' knowledge, and the rest of them, you can as well come up with a solution, which is coming up with a tech device that helps in creating that level of disease awareness.
Yes.
Right. And the question now is, how do you intend to navigate it? Now, do you bring it up to the level of the patient perspective or from the doctor's perspective? So it all depends on how level of solution one needs to provide at the end of the day. So in clustering it, you can come up with a device, an app, that helps in navigating the clustered problem that you have been able to identify. Then for the access point of view, access to care and every other thing, I mean, one could drive a good level of partnership with the National Health Insurance Agency, or trying to see how you could run more of like a patient support programs, you get, that would help in driving improved access to healthcare system, or at the same time come up with an app that helps you in navigating a solution, or helps you in prompting yourself to, make purchase of something right from your very seat. Yeah.
Interesting. So this next question I have here, right, is a very technical question.
Yeah.
It says you always talk about customer psychology,
Yeah.
right? And building products. How do you need to understand like people to be able to provide solutions? So we know that human beings can be very different. I mean, we can come from maybe the same country like Nigeria. We have diverse, tribes.
Tribes,
How
thoughts.
do you understand that even for taking medications, yeah, people have like different thought processes, different cultures, traditions that hinder them. Like, how do we now tailor
Those
preparing solutions?
I mean, that's a very deep question. It's a very deep question. I'm trying to process the answer. I think number one is having people in your cycle, right? I think I'm bringing it back to home in terms of how I was able to navigate the whole process. So it's something people can relate with, right? Now, bringing it back to home, I noticed I had a major challenge, which was, will this solution have impact to people?
Yeah.
Right? So the why was a major core definition for me, right? And the why helped me to define my impact. And how I was able to do that was because I have circle of people around me, right? I have my family, I have my friends, and I have a very close friend, right? So I was able to ask those level of questions to people, and I was able to ask real core definitive questions to find out if this is being done, right, in a situation where you put yourself in my shoes and this solution is being offered, how will you feel about it? What are your level of thought processes, right? So it was more of like doing a random survey within the circle I could control.
Yeah.
Right? And once I was able to get the outcome, it helped me define what I wanted to do. So I think one of the things now is being able to have that support system that helped you, or that will help you to navigate the challenges you face. And once the support system gives you direction on what is being needed, you see how you can navigate the whole process. And that was one of the major things I was able to do. Even when there's a time I had the challenge while providing that solution, right? I now met with someone, right? And when I met with her, we had a conversation. And while we were having the conversation, I had a problem for I had a problem for like 3 months. Yeah, I had a problem for 3 months. I couldn't navigate that problem for the past 3 months until I had the conversation with the lady. And when I had the conversation with her, I mean, shockingly, in less than 45 minutes, right, I was able to get the response. So this is when you have your circle, right? When you have your circle of trust, and you at the same time you're being able to be dependent on them, you're being able to be vulnerable to them, and being able to have that level of disclosure in terms of the challenges you face. I mean, there are solutions around you, but the problem we always face is that we don't see those solutions. We always see the problems before the solution.
So basically, like, you need to have a very steady, rock solid support system. You can't do everything by yourself. Sometimes you have to borrow knowledge from other people.
Exactly. Rock solid support system. And at the same time, there's still a God factor, right? There's still a God factor, because you could have a support system, right? And when the support system gives you the answer, if you're not sensitive to the things of the spirit, you may not be able to identify that, see, guy, this is a solution to the problem you have. Like when I had that conversation, I mean, I had the problem for 3 months. But when we were having like kind of dinner, when I, made mention of the problem and she gave the solution, I was like, I didn't recognize it at first.
Yeah.
It was when I had to think back, that was when I knew that this was the solution to the problem I was having. So I think it's being sensitive, having sensitive in things of the spirit, and having a good level of circle of trust. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So being sensitive to the spirit and having a rock solid support system. All right, so moving on, and this time around, we know that we have young people who are watching this who would want to learn a thing or two from this entire conversation. So what skills do you think young people should be developing now, especially if they're trying to grow their career in maybe pharmacy or farm tech or even technology?
What skills? This is deep. Because did I have any skill? Not really. I think I learned more. I learned more on the job.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say one of the major characteristics people should learn is patience. Yeah. I think it's patience. Patience is really core. Being patient and being true to yourself, right? And being true to yourself gives you clarity of your identity, right? Then in terms of the skill, I think one needs to be open to learning, be open to, I mean, you have ChatGPT, you have cloud AI, you have deep, what do they call it again? Deep what again? I've forgotten the name, please. I know it's a deep something. DeepSeek. Yeah, you have DeepSeek. Thank you. Be open to those level of platforms where you can have the idea to navigate your thoughts, right? I remember when I was when I was delving into this, one of the things I had to expose myself to was the skill of Python, right? It was something that was really weird to me. With going into Python, going into Power BI, going into SQL, like it was something that was really, really kind of a bit weird to me, but I was patient with myself just to say I could navigate that process of learning. And at the same time, coming up with something that was true to myself. So the problem now is, if you're not true to yourself, if you don't have the why that will help you get clarity in terms of what you need to do, there's a high tendency of yourself losing out on the long run. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's your why that sparks you up, right? It's your why that makes you go further in terms of what you need to do as an individual, right? It's your why that helps you navigate any hurdle you face. It's your why that also helps you identify solutions and identify the people around you. Because if you don't have it, I mean, you get burnt out easily at the end of the day.
So for skills, you did mention patience is a skill.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
identifying your why.
It's a character. It's a personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So identifying your why as well is one step that you should also take.
Yeah.
So being patient, identifying your why, having a solid support system, and be open to learning. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next question is for people who maybe are like you, who studied one thing and want to maybe pivot into something else, maybe mix it with something else or even something totally different. What advice do you have to give them?
Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Be humble. Be humble. I mean, no idea or no knowledge is lost. Right? Yes, you're in pharmacy. Yes, you want to pivot to another place. I mean, you could still use both knowledge at the end of the day. So be true to yourself. No knowledge is lost. Be open to learning. I always say that. Sorry, I have to say this, but I think it's one of the major challenge with the current generation.
Yeah, young people.
Yeah, among young people. I don't want to say Gen Z, but I have to say Gen Zs, right? So it's a challenge. I'm so sorry. Well, it's a challenge. It's a huge challenge. You know, everyone wants a soft pedal system. But truth be told, for people like us that we don't know the type of spoon we are born with, right? We just had to see how we could carve out spoons for ourselves. But truth be told, yes, you may have a soft pedal system, right? But you need to be humble. I mean, humility is very strong. Now, it's one thing to have, sorry, I have to sit up, right? It's one thing to have the idea. It's another thing to execute the idea. It's one thing to have the idea and implement those ideas. It's another thing to have the people who will guide you to execute those ideas. Now, my journey to tech was not something that I woke up and I walked into it. It was a journey. Right? It was a journey. And the people who helped me out to navigate the challenge that I had are people I met when I had to put my head down. I mean, I have someone I worked with. This guy happened to be a copper. But this guy is good. Right? This guy is good. And the funny part was that I knew he had more knowledge than myself. But I was being able to put my head down to learn. And when I learned, I mean, there's some things he taught me, there's some things I learned from him. And we found out that a tree doesn't really make a forest, right? You need to see how you could build people around yourself. You need to see how you could network, right? Amongst certain level of generations, right? Not just only being focused on the fact that I have the knowledge all by myself, right? But at the same time, being able to see how you could co-create things with people and at the same time, identify certain level of challenges and solutions. So I think it's a mix of everything, but I would say humility is the most important thing. Humility is the most important thing. Because trust me, if you don't have this, there's no way you can learn. There's no way you can learn.
Humility is a very key factor in learning.
Yes, it's a very key factor in learning. It's a very key factor in life. Very key factor in life.
Amazing. So if a young person watching this wants to make an impact in healthcare or tech, what is one thing that they should start to do?
Start learning. I'm so sorry, but I have to be honest. I mean, start learning. Get yourself exposed, right? Attend seminars. I mean, attend tech seminars, attend healthcare system seminars where you begin to hear from elites, where they talk about the challenges with the healthcare system, right? I mean, read a lot, right? Read a lot. it was one of the things that also helped me out. I mean, there's nothing that passes me by without myself reading it. Even if I just read the headline,
Yeah.
right? At least I have an idea of something. So read a lot. Be curious. I think curiosity was something else again. Be curious about life, right? Be curious about life. Be curious about trying something new, right? Be curious about having a mix, because I mean, it's those mix that makes life interesting,
Yeah.
right? Be curious about yourself. I mean, I forgot to say that. Be curious about yourself, because to be honest, you will never know how much you can do, right? Except you stretch yourself beyond your limits.
Yes.
You will never know the level of your capacity, right? Except you go beyond your limits. You will never know the level of ideas. I mean, check the Bible itself. Look at the life of Paul, right? Before he was formerly called Saul. He never knew he was going to be one of the greatest well-known apostle at the end of the day. But when he went through his life, I mean, God knew that this was who he was going to be at the end of the day. But he let him go through the whole process. He let him learn. He let him understand the system. He let him understand the fact that, okay, this is the law of the land. He made him understood the law of the land, right? And before he had clarity, after what he had gotten in terms of the knowledge, God called him. And at that point, he was not just someone who was a regular apostle. He was a fully baked apostle, having knowledge with the law and having knowledge in Christ.
Yeah.
So with that, there was a mix of those two. And he had this level of balance where he could talk to people, he could talk to young generations, he could talk to older generations and let them understand and see reasons in what they were saying. So I feel having that sense of curiosity about yourself and being true to the journey. Because coming back again to the generations, right? We need to be honest with ourselves, where we have to tell ourselves, okay, this is who I am as a person, right? This is myself. This is who I am as an individual. This is what I have been called to be at the end of the day. It may, to some people, they may be able to identify who they are early. To some people, they might be more of like the late boomers at the end of the day. You may not need to be like A, even though you are Z. But at the end of the day, you are still part of the alphabet. I don't know if it makes sense. So I think one of the things is understanding the journey, right? Being patient, being sincere, being honest, being modest, and at the same time celebrating others. I think it's one of the major things, people need to have that level of mix in terms of their life. Yeah.
So knowing who you are and being true to your journey, and also being able to not be jealous of other people who are achieving other things and
celebrate
just
people.
Celebrating
Celebrate people.
Amazing. Wow, this has been so insightful. I know that everyone who has been watching this has also learned a lot as well, as I have. I mean, and I'm not even in 15 to 25 and I'm still learning this much. Thank you so much for this insightful session.
Appreciate it.
All right. So we have a very interesting segment of this our interesting show.
God, I beg.
There we go. So it's not really a very serious game, something, just very light-hearted questions.
Wait.
And for this, we'll need you to hold some tools. Yeah, these guys.
Hope it's not any...
No.
Okay.
So in the times when the answer is yes, you raise yes, and when it's no, you raise no.
God, I beg. So what is that one for?
So no, you just need the front parts for this one.
Hey, God, I beg.
So I have two questions for you.
God, I beg.
So have you ever broken something in the house and blamed someone else for it? This is when you were growing up. Did you ever break anything in your house? I thought as much. I mean, it was a house of boys.
No, several times.
Can you tell us an instance? Can you give us like a story?
Hey, I beg. Okay, so Please, are we posting this online?
By the grace of God.
Then I have to look for another example. Let me see now. I think number one was, so in our house it's a house of boys, right? So when we are little, we always play football in the house itself. So I remember a situation where we were playing ball and I think we broke one of the frames in the house. And I'll tell you, it was something that was quite amazing. But at the end of the day, we just had to see how we could navigate the whole process. But we found out that eventually our dad found out that it was this, how will I explain this now? There's this famous Jesus kind of frame. Yeah.
So that goes right
it's black and everything. So we broke that.
Wow.
And that was one thing I broke. Then another one again was I broke the plates while I was washing it in the kitchen. That was quite funny. I tried to see how I could hide the plate so my mom doesn't find out. But funny enough, she found out, and she had to call me, and I had to tell her I was the one who did that. So, also some other funny incidents, but I won't have to say that online. Yeah.
Okay. We are watching you, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so what's the funniest reason your parents have ever beaten you or punished you?
Could have begged.
It's given trouble sometimes.
Should I leave this seat? Hey, God. What was the famous?
The funniest reason your parents have ever beaten you?
God. Why are you guys doing this? You have told me about this. Okay. So my childhood was very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, of course.
I wasn't the most intelligent, right, amongst my siblings. I would say I was like a dullard, right, amongst my siblings.
It's giving middle child energy.
Yeah, middle child energy. That's the word. And my siblings, they were extremely smart, very, very smart. There's no time they won't come first. And me back then, because I was a dullard, right? I will always come second to the last, third to the last, or probably the last in school, right? And it was a funny part when my aunt and my uncle, they came to the house. They were like, David, what did you score? Auntie, I came first in the class. Obi, what about you? What did you score? Obi, don't worry, there's no need to ask you. You always first. Yes, Auntie. Ebuka, what about you? Me, I was already eating. Right? I'm like, Auntie, don't mind them, Jerry. I came second to the last. My siblings are always getting one digit. And I always have 2 digits. That was one of the most stupidest things I've ever said. Whenever I recall it, I always laugh. That's like, first is 1 digit. Yeah. Second to the last is 2 digits, right? So like, my digit is heavier than theirs and everything. So I was flexing on it, not knowing that I was trying to, encourage myself along the line. So, but deep down, sometimes my parents will scold me, sometimes they shouted at me. But one of the things I really love was the fact that they came from a place of love, and it made me realize some things about myself, and that was how I was able to navigate everything. So. That was one of the funniest journey of my life, right? Being able to come up with funny stories.
Funny stories like that.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
Have you been ever been punished for doing something that you just find now that in hindsight you just think that thing was very mumu? Yes or no?
Should I use this? Yeah, several times. Several times. I don't think I'll disclose this. I'm sorry I won't. But several times. Several times.
Interesting.
Several times. My childhood, my childhood was really awesome. Like, it was really awesome, but several times.
You're not the typical good boy.
No, I wasn't a good boy. No, I wasn't a good. I think I changed. I changed with time. I wasn't a good boy at all.
You grew.
I grew. I overgrew it.
Yes.
When they say people who are called Ebuka, they are always stubborn. I always laugh.
I don't know.
But I think there's an atom of truth in it, because whenever I reflect back, I get those level of feelers.
So you're going to be anticipating a mini you when you have your
Not
own
really.
children?
No, not really. I think God has a prescription for every generation.
All right. Thank you so much for indulging us.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, we've come to the end of this episode, but do not forget we still have more coming your way. So make sure you stay tuned. Do not forget to like, drop a comment, and share this with a friend or two. And most importantly, if you have not subscribed by this time, you are very wrong. Ejo, Ebawa, subscribe. All right, guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.